Welcome, everyone, to AJI Group's 2024 Virtual Policyholder Summit. In this session, we will be empowering our policyholders. We will be taking a comprehensive look at the services provided by HAI Group's Account Services and Risk Control team. I'm Caroline Ruiz, Director of Account Services, and with me is Angel Fear, Assistant Director of Account Services. We will be talking to you about our team. So who is Account Services? We're the first point of contact for all things HAI, serving you as a liaison to all the core departments within HAI Group. What does that mean? So if you're an agency that's looking to do some training with your staff and you know about HAI's online training, but you're not quite sure who to get in touch with, you can reach out to Account Services and we can give you a high-level overview of those products and connect you to the appropriate persons to get you going. We also are the first point of contact if you're curious about resident programs. For example, a resident scholarship program, which by the way is currently open and will close at the end of the month. And Beth and Mary will talk more about that probably in their next session, in their next segment. But we can point you to the appropriate parties on how your residents can apply for these scholarships if they're interested and they're attending college. More importantly, HAI is a group of 15 licensed insurance producers servicing your core products, your core policies. Our team consists of 2 regional managers, Michelle Bizzuto, Nate Tripler, and then the rest of our team are senior account executives and account executives, Adam, Amy, Ben, Brent, Brian, Derek, Jeff Nielsen, Jody, Justin, Kathy, and Twy. This team is dedicated to providing you with information regarding your policies from start to finish. In the last session, some of you may have heard underwriting talk about understanding the risk, underwriting the risk. It's our job as agents to present to our underwriting team you, our member, in the right light. We learn all of your properties. We make it a point to know when you're adding buildings, when you're deleting buildings. We keep engaged with you to learn about functions that you're doing outside of the regular scope of your day-to-day. So if you're doing any community activities where you require additional insurance, our team is there to support you, to guide you on how to properly insure yourselves. The other thing our team does is we look to guide you in services such as reporting your AMP premiums by AMP for you to report to HUD. We provide you with loss information. We point you to our risk control department if need be, if inspections are required or need to go on. And we serve you as your agent. This team, what you probably don't know about them is that most of them are PHM certified, so they know your business. It's our job to know who you are and how to insure you. And for those hard to place risks that we're maybe not eligible to write for you through our internal insurance programs, we have business partners in which we've developed relationship with, and we've taken the time to advocate for you and get them to know who you are and what you do and what you engage in on a day-to-day to put you in the best light when looking for those hard to place risks. And when we talk about hard to place risks, I'm going to turn it over to Angel Fear because she's going to go over some of those risks that we don't write through our internal programs, but you need as you're doing some of your activities within your agency. Angel?
Thank you, Caroline. So some of those key coverages that we can assist your agency in placing are builder's risk coverages. A lot of you are doing rehab and new construction that has been delayed for a little while, and we're seeing an uptick in that. With that being said, the builder's risk market is challenged right now. This is largely due to volatile weather and supply chain issues. This has driven premiums as of late, although we have started to see some relief in the market for our builder's risk carriers. We have built strong relationships with a number of our carriers who deeply understand the PHA business. Another coverage that we assist with, which everybody I'm sure is sick of hearing about, is cyber liability. So 10 to 15 years ago, cyber really wasn't an issue. It wasn't a thing for companies. Yes, it was around. You could purchase the coverage. We heard a little bit about it here and there. But over time, we have seen a lot of changes. Many carriers have come in and out of the market. There isn't really a lot of good data as of yet for loss ratios. Carriers are gathering that information, which sometimes, can drive the pricing up. We have worked with our partners to secure and develop relationships with carriers for the ease of obtaining quotes for you. We have come up with a application that encompasses everything to where we can just submit it to all of our carriers, and obtain quotes for you. We also continue to provide resources to improve your insurability at your agency. Does anybody have any questions? We're all set. A couple of the other coverages that we can assist with are, of course, the directors and officers liability, workman's comp. We do the Section 8 lead through one of our business partners. We also can assist you in obtaining crime and fidelity coverages.
Angel, we have a quick question from a participant here.
Sure.
If somebody needs a coverage like this, like what's the lead time in terms of reaching out to their account executive?
Good question.
Yeah.
That's a really great question. So for builder's risk, that takes a little more time. The underwriters at our carriers do require at least a 6 to 8 week lead time to underwrite a builder's risk quote. And that is after they obtain all of the underwriting information. Now, if it's the cyber, the directors and officers liability, it's usually just like a 2 to 3 week turnaround after we receive a complete submission.
We had another question about entity coverages. Somebody just wanted clarification on that. I don't know if Caroline or Angel could jump in on that.
What was the question again?
They just wanted clarity on what, I think it's 2 slides back, entity coverages. You mentioned review your entity coverages here.
So the different risks that you have, so the different properties that you may have affordable housing portfolio. That's a different entity than your public housing portfolio. We know how to insure those in the different programs that would apply if you wanted to insure those through us. And we do have access to markets if it's not eligible for our internal programs. We do have markets that we can certainly place your entities with outside of HAI, and those are those partners that we keep referring to that we've established relationships that understand us, HAI, and who our members are. So, and hopefully that answered your question, whoever asked that.
Thank you. No further questions.
And now I'll turn it over to Beth and Mary to do their risk presentation.
Thank you so much, Angel. Here at HAI Group, We view our role in the risk control department as one that has two customers. So the first customer is being you all, the policy holders, of course. And we understand that many of you all have budget constraints that are not able to have a designated risk manager on staff. The risk management responsibilities are usually assigned to someone else with multiple other roles within the organization. And so we're here to provide them with guidance on how to develop a risk management culture within the organization. We do this through training and customized risk management resources to fit their needs. And we're going to be discussing a lot of those throughout the rest of the presentation. The second customer that we have here in the risk control department is our underwriting department. For underwriting, we go out on site and gather or confirm property details to ensure that the underwriters are making the most informed decisions. Underwriters will review our inspection reports and recommendation letters to understand how well risk management practices are implemented on our policyholder properties. So for this reason, we really stress that you all respond to risk control's recommendations to let us know what actions you're taking to remediate the issues we have identified on site. So who will be the HI group employees out on your site inspections? As you can see, we have some new additions to the team. There may be some familiar faces on this slide, but the team is a mix of in-house and fully remote staff. We have JB Smith, who is out in Virginia. We have Nick Witowski, who is in Colorado, and Blake, he's our newest hire, and he is located in Indiana. Their proximity to their territories allows them to provide excellent customer service to the policyholders and react quickly to your requests. It also reduces our travel costs to the organizations, and it helps keep our expenses down. Mary, who you're going to hear from in a few minutes, is our department manager. Nick Mayo and Lyle, another new hire, are all focused here in Connecticut. We do also have Debbie Seidel, who you may get some emails from. She manages all of our resident programs that we're going to talk about later on in this presentation. With our new hires that we have currently added, we're going to be reassessing the team's territories, and a new territory map is going to be released shortly. You will all be receiving an email with their new contact information if your risk control consultant has changed. So with that, I'm going to hand this over to Mary, and she's going to continue the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Beth. So inspections. So one of the main functions of our risk team is to facilitate on-site property inspections. These are really aimed at enhancing our understanding of your property and building conditions, gathering data on any significant updates, and then also discussing organizational risk management practices. So we conduct these really in two main ways. First, by our internal risk team members, we handle a substantial portion of inspections ourselves. And then second, by our third-party vendor, we use Verisk, and they conduct additional inspections on our behalf. So regardless of the inspector, the process remains fairly consistent for the most part for you as our policyholders. We'll either contact you directly to schedule the inspection, or we will inform you that an inspector from Verisk will be reaching out to schedule the inspection. So our inspections are mainly visual. Some of the key areas include looking at the building exteriors, the condition of walking surfaces, HVAC and fire protection equipment. So making sure that those are being tested and maintained in compliance. We'll also get up on the rooftop if it is a flat roof and it's accessible. And then other common areas like playgrounds, hallways, stairwells, etc. We won't ever enter an occupied unit. We'll only request to see a vacant unit if you have one available. We always request for a staff member from your agency to accompany either us or the Verisk inspector, especially someone who's familiar with the properties and they have access to some of those areas that we just discussed. The duration of the inspection, it really varies based on property size, but on average, you can expect around 45 minutes per location. So during our inspections, we'll identify any potential property or liability exposures and really aim to highlight these while we're on site, and just kind of explain why it can be a concern and really try and put some context behind it. For those of you who were on the underwriting session just before this, they spoke of some typical exposures that they take note of. Some of these include tripping hazards, security concerns, life safety issues such as blocked egress, and then also unfavorable building conditions, especially some older roofs. So any of these issues or concerns that we identify during an inspection are going to be addressed through a written recommendation. So we'll provide a copy of these shortly after the inspection, and we request a response within 60 days. So that response may be that, certain things have been completed, or it might be providing us with a plan of action for addressing some of those larger ticket items that really may not be feasible to fully complete within that 60 days. We do follow up on any open items, and underwriting is also kept in the loop with all of this correspondence, and they're knowledgeable of the status of these recs, and it is something that they take note of during renewals.
Mary, we had a quick question that I think is relevant to this topic. Quick question that's relevant to this topic. Jeffrey Wade from Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority asked, how, if at all, is HAI Group accounting for Inspire inspection standards and reporting those to insureds when conducting its inspections?
Can you, sorry, I'm just reading it here.
How is HAI Group accounting for Inspire inspection standards and reporting those to insureds when conducting its inspections?
Yeah, so we actually have a team member right now who's currently working on somewhat of a training guide for that, just to kind of point out any new items that came from that Inspire. So that way we can hopefully try to kind of point those out while we're on site to our members.
Thank you, Mary.
Sure, you can go on to the next slide. So as Beth mentioned earlier, we create a variety of risk management materials for our policyholders covering a range of topics, and everything is specific to the housing industry. These resources can include, comprehensive manuals, sample policies, safety sheets, maintenance checklists, and seasonal guides. During the last session, they did briefly touch on the presence of certain items on your property, such as, bounce houses, playgrounds, pools. These are all topics that we can help out with and provide some samples on. We also collaborate with nonprofit risk management to provide an online tool designed to help you develop a business continuity plan for your organization. So this tool will walk you through the necessary steps you'll have to take to navigate through a crisis, really focusing on maintaining those essential business functions during these emergencies. Our team is always working on new content, and we do try to prioritize emerging industry trends or common issues we're seeing out in the field. But with that said, we always welcome input from our members regarding any resource requests you may have. You can go on to the next slide. So what you're seeing on these slides, we do have some sneak peeks of what the new content hub will look like when our new website launches this summer. This enhanced hub has a much more user-friendly interface with better search capabilities, which will be much easier to locate the information that you need. But in the meantime, you can still access all of our resources on the Risk Management Center through your account dashboard once you've logged in, and that will remain active until we do make that switch over. And then you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. You can go on to the next slide. So our team offers a lot of different training sessions in a few different formats to really fit the needs of our policyholders. We can conduct on-site training programs for housing staff, as well as virtual sessions in conjunction with subject matter experts throughout the industry. Our trainings cover a range of topics such as risk management essentials, auto safety, physical safety, safety committee training, just to name a few. Also, we're always willing to customize a training session if there's a specific concern you're looking to target. And then we can also do fire and unit safety training for residents as well. We also host collaborative type training events where we bring together our policyholders within a similar geographical area and host a day of training on a bunch of different topics impacting the industry. These are always a great opportunity to network with your peers and discuss some of the challenges that you're all facing. And this year, our team is going to be facilitating 8 of these throughout the country. And then for the past few years, since 2019, actually, we've hosted a virtual risk management conference. Usually it's in early November. This year, it's November 7th. Some of the topics we're looking to cover this year are integrated pest management, identifying common roof concerns, and cybersecurity, among others. Recordings of past conferences are available on our website through that Risk Management Center if you did want to take a look at some of the areas we covered previously. You can go on to the next.
Mary, quick question on the training. We had a question, could tenants receive in-person training? Are there any tenant-focused trainings that your team offers?
Yep, so we can do fire safety training for tenants, and we also have a unit safety training that we offer.
We also have a train the trainer session, so we can provide that for, your property managers, kind of showing them how to do the presentation so that then they can go out and take that training to multiple sites.
And then we just had another question, I think, on the resources. They were talking about the risk resources, or likening them to the flyers that they can give to tenants and asking if they can get those online. I can answer that directly. Yes, you can get those online, but I don't know if you guys wanted to add anything else to that.
I think just that we're always looking for additional topics or resources that we can create for you. So if there is something that you feel like could be applicable to other properties, or something that you would like us to work on and provide to you, we're always open to that. So just feel free to reach out to either one of us and we can make that happen.
And then last one on training for now, for in-office safe driver training, are there costs involved in that?
No, so our trainings just kind of come with your policy. So no, there's no additional costs.
Great, thank you. No further questions for now.
Okay, so you can go on to the next slide. So we organize two main contest initiatives for residents living in public and affordable housing. In the spring, during National Playground Safety Week in April, we facilitate the playground poster and essay contest to really advocate for the significance of playground safety. With this program, our policyholders coordinate the contests locally within their organization, and then they submit their top winners from each age group to us. There's 3 different age groups. We then conduct our internal evaluations, and we'll designate first, second, and third place winners across those different age categories. We're actually doing that here next week. And then these winners are rewarded with gift cards of different values. We also promote the importance of fire safety through our annual fire safety poster contest, which is held during Fire Prevention Week in October every year. This operates similar to our playground contest, with winners selected for first, second, and third place, and it's also held locally at your housing agency. So these programs are really great ways to engage young residents and raise awareness while also educating them on these safety topics in a manner that's really easy for them to understand based on their age. And then Caroline also mentioned the scholarship program in the beginning of the session. So that's definitely something we recommend to take advantage of. It's a really great opportunity for your residents.
Quick addition from marketing, you will be receiving an email reminder about scholarship in the next week or so. So keep an eye out for that in your inbox. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so I am going to wrap up our discussion with the Loss Prevention Fund. So this program, it's available to HAI Inc. members. It runs annually to reimburse expenses associated with risk management and loss prevention projects. The overall goal of the program is to really support our members in completing projects that enhance safety measures, improve their risk profiles, and have both short and long-term financial benefits by minimizing those potential losses. So funding for this program is dependent on approval by our board of directors, which that's typically granted in December. So during eligible years, the application window will open in March and it closes on May 31st. And this year we've been approved to set aside $2 million for the fund, which is great. Some examples of projects that have been completed through this fund over the years include the installation of fire suppression canisters, replacing or upgrading fire alarm systems, physical security enhancements such as new cameras or new electronic locking systems, replacing sidewalks, and then also cybersecurity related projects, which was a new category that we introduced last year. So great news, there's still time to apply for the fund. It's due at the end of the month. You can access the application under your account dashboard on our website. I do want to point out that the applications have to be submitted directly through our website. You can't accept anything through email. So if you don't already have a login, please register as soon as possible to allow time for verification and approval by our IT team, because we unfortunately can't accept any late submissions. So it's best to get that done now. The application process itself is fairly straightforward. It'll ask you to provide project details, how the project will have an impact on loss prevention, realistic implementation timelines, measurable objectives, and then plans for how you'll sustain those results in the future beyond that initial funding period. Another item to note is that you can apply for a project that you'd like to complete in the future or something that you've recently completed, as long as it's been within the last year. And then future projects do need to be completed within 2 years. So each submission undergoes evaluation by our risk team, except for the cybersecurity projects. Those are reviewed by our internal IT experts. All of the identifying information is redacted prior to our review, so it's a completely blind review on our end. And then the submissions are scored against a matrix, and those top submissions are bumped up to the insurance leadership team. They'll review them in the same manner and they select the winners and then also decide how those funds are going to be distributed. So they can choose to fully fund or just partially fund some projects. We've seen really great success with this program. It began in 2020, and we really look forward to seeing the project submitted this year. We do have a recording available on the fund's landing page on our website. It provides a lot more information on the program if anyone did want any further details. You can go on to the next slide, Andrew. That brings us to the end of our piece, so we'll open it up for questions.
Mary, we had a question, and Beth as well, a risk-related question, and this goes back to the underwriting session. Does risk review include looking into local fire violations, building code violations, and crime rating in a community?
Sorry, can you repeat the question again, Andrew?
Sure. Does I think this came when you guys were talking about the inspections that you do. Does this review include looking into local fire code violations, building code violations, and crime rating in a community?
No, so we don't know different jurisdictions. Everybody has different building codes, fire codes, so we don't get involved into that. We're really looking for life safety concerns, and then making sure that you have protections for the building if there was a fire. We don't get down to the code level.
And then another one related to training. We have someone who says most of their residents are Spanish speaking. So they're asking, would the route be, when you were talking about the in-office training, to train the trainer as this person is bilingual, or is there, or do we offer any type of training in Spanish directly in office or via Zoom?
Unfortunately, we don't have any bilingual staff on hand to conduct the training, so I would recommend going the train the trainer route for that. And for the driver training, we can conduct that in person or virtually, whatever works best for your organization. It's not, we're not sitting in cars with people driving. It's strictly just in person in a classroom setting.
We did have a positive comment from someone. I thought I would mention that Carl Oppum mentions that the HAI group risk control staff performing site inspections have caught several safety issues, including correcting exit signage, most memorably that our local fire inspector missed. So kudos to the risk control and consulting team there.
Thank you, Carl.
Who we have an attendee who asks, who do we contact to get more information about developing various risk management programs?
You can contact myself at the email eowens@housingcenter.com, or you can also reach out to Mary as well.
And then on the loss prevention fund, Erica asks if funds can be used towards on-site security.
Yes, we have approved those projects in the past. Just please note that it's not going to be something that we would continue to fund. If you're talking about contracting with on-site security, it's not something that we would be able to fund year over year. It would only be for a contracted period.
Thank you. We have a shout out for Account Services Representative Brent Arbor. He has been great and could not ask for a better contact. So if you've got Brent, as your account executive, you're very lucky. Everyone's lucky, but yeah. We have another question on sample policies. Where can those be found?
So everything is on the website. You do need to have a login for the website to access the Risk Management Center. Within the Risk Management Center, there are breakouts into different groups of policies. We have toolbox talks that can be utilized by the maintenance team. And then we also have particular manuals such as the fleet manual we mentioned earlier, and then a risk control manual just outlining best practices for risk management for housing entities.
Thank you. I don't see any further questions at the moment. The link for the next session, which begins at 1:30 and will cover claims and some additional elements of risk control, will be starting at 1:30. So please, we hope to see you there soon. I'll just give another moment for any last questions.
We got one more question. How often are the training webinars updated, and are updates done taking into consideration trends on types of claims?
Yes, so we do update. We try to update at least if there are any types of data points within there, such as claims data or trends that we're seeing. We will try to update those. We may not update the entire training, but we may update certain sections. You know, recently we've added in cybersecurity into our essentials of risk management. So if we do start to see a trend or a topic that we feel needs to be addressed, we will update those.
Thank you. And just another shout out for an account representative, Amy Smith. Mark Clark says she is very responsive and efficient. Thank you for that comment. We have another comment on the HEI Group online training catalog. This person says that they have the 2023 version. Is there a 2024? Yes, there is. I will include that in the follow-up email that everyone will receive. You can also find that on our website, but it's packed with some great information and some new courses that are really relevant to the audience here.